Hey, more lists for the WarSaw tournament in Poland. This is one from Bartek, and he has sent me a Japanese list. Let's go and watch. Right, so it's the 14 ordered ice Japanese list that we're looking at here. Um, and it's got the regular lieutenant, of course, and I think you should equip him not with a sword but with an SMG if you can. Um, It's a question of getting the models right? And then bamboos, yes, full strength bamboos. Even though you can't actually, in the Juggernaut, you get a free LMG if you're full strength, but the bamboo spears cannot take that because it's not an option for the unit. They're green, they're nasty. You know them. They are really good. They can kill most things that you point them at, although they will die doing it. So they're like a glass cannon. A Kembatai that will help with their green tests, and it's also a very cheap order dice. Militias. Oh, so there's a lot of Inix here. We've got full strength militias as well. I can't remember if they can actually take an LMG. I don't think they can, but they've got rifles, so they can shoot a bit, and they're also green. And all of this benefits from having a Kembatai close by. So that is 4 units of full strength. That's 15-man units. Oh, that's a lot of bodies. That is a lot of bodies you're putting on the table here. It's going to be a huge deal just chewing your way through this. That's going to be really difficult. Now, what does he back it up with? An inexperienced heavy mortar. Lovely. When that hits, it's going to hurt like, oh, that hurts a lot. Triple suicide anti-tankers. Veterans, though. I think this is because he wants to run his suicide. He wants it to be easier to have the suicider connect. Most of us run them inexperienced just so that they're not that expensive because they're not exceedingly good tactically. They're very, very strong if you get them to hit, but it's very difficult to get them to hit. So what you typically do is at the end of a turn, you run out your suicider close to an enemy tank, preferably within 6 inches. But then, if you don't get the first order dice, you are going to have to weather some incoming fire. And he makes them veteran so that they're small team veteran, more likely to survive. But they do become a lot more expensive. A 75mm field gun, so that is the second. It's a light howitzer. It's the second indirect shot that he can do with the heavy mortar and the light howitzer. So typically, what you'll see Japanese players do is they'll have the horde in front. And if the enemy shoots at the horde, individual horde units, they'll go down. But then behind that horde will sit all the artillery just plinking away with HE shots. And if you don't shoot at the horde first, then they will move up and get closer to close combat range, which is bad. So you're going to have to shoot at the horde and then suffer whatever comes your way of the HE. So typically it's actually the HE that wins the game for these types of lists. An armored car. I don't think this is necessary in most instances, but it's nice to have some long-range Darker. Double MMGs is really good for 70 points, yeah. And then a captured light steward Darker version, lovely. And another captured light steward Darker version. Now, yeah, this is it is more expensive than the versions that you get as allies, but and it's got Reki. It's really, really good, and he's bought the pintle mounted even, so that's why it's more expensive. Yeah, yeah. This is a lot of Daka coming out of this army, so it's a lot of bodies, it's a lot of HE, and it's a lot of Daka. This, for me, is going to be one of the top 5 armies, I think, at this tournament. I am rating this as approximately, for those of you who've been following my channel, you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about rating and rankings. For me, this is more or less a 4 army, just based on the list. I would want, if it was my army, I would want maybe a little bit more, I don't know, You've got the suicide anti-tankers. It's a question of have you got enough individual infantry units, right? Um, and of course they're inexperienced, so you are going to expect them to die a lot. May have wanted to exchange one of the stewards with a Horo so that you get an extra howitzer into that list. It's a question of taste, I guess. And then the armored car, I'm not sure this is needed. 7 plus MMG turrets. Um, the stewards should be enough. If you're running double stewards, I don't think you need the armored car, but I would rather take some like an extra HE shot. But that is maybe my only complaint about this list. So this for those who've been asking for examples of lists, this is a 4 list for me. Right. Good luck, and I expect you to do well. Cheers.